Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm gwEm and I'm going to give you a rundown of the last jam that I did, which was a breakbeat rave jam. Everything again is sequenced in this grey Alesis MMT-8. Let's go through each of the channels and you can hear all of the different sounds. Here is track 1. So that is obviously a sampled breakbeat, the Amen break, and that's coming from this Yamaha SU-10 sampler, which is a kind of a little handheld sampler. It's not very advanced, but it's perfect for something like this. It's quite cheap and it sounds good. So there's just 4 samples that are used in this track. Cut up sections of the Amen break, which are then resequenced in the Alesis. Track 2, we have a bass line, which is being played by this 1990s EMU Orbit, which is a digital synth from the late 90s. And it has stored within it lots of early 90s techno sounds. So if you're making old techno or rave or house, it's kind of a gold mine of all of those cliches. On track 3, I don't have anything. Track 4, kind of a chilled out sounding stab from the EMU Orbit. A very 90s sounding pad from the EMU Orbit. Like a little vocal accent that I've used at certain points in the track. Again, these sounds are all from the Orbit. That rave stab is very 1990s. It's kind of used it as the main hook in the track. And a crowd sound to give it that kind of rave feeling. So as always, well, until now at least, I've used the TB-303 for sections of the track. And I have 2 patterns. Let's hear them both. So those are the patterns which I use in the song. The 303 is going through this Boss B5 multi-effect, which I have explained in another video actually. It has a built-in distortion, delay, noise suppressor and chorus, which are being used in this particular song. So that's it for the sound sources. So let's go over here to the effects. Again, I'm using this RFX 300 multi-effect from Zoom on a reverb setting, which I sort of felt had a warehouse vibe. So let's listen to the stab with and without the reverb. It clearly sounds a lot nicer with the reverb. Not everything from the EMU Orbit has reverb on it. I didn't have it on the bass because I didn't really feel that was appropriate. And finally, we have my favorite Alesis Nanocompressor. Let's listen to the mix with and without it. And then I'll explain some more about how I've configured it this time. So as you can hear, it sounds quite a lot more punchy with the compressor in, and it appears to be a bit louder even though it isn't actually. So the difference between the compressor setup this time and the way I had it set up last time is last time I just had it plugged directly into the output of the mixer and that was that. This time I've actually used the sidechain input on the mixer, which I will explain now. So the compressor sidechain input is connected to the drums. So you can see the compressor's only kicking in on the drums. If I put in the stabs, for example, compressor's not sensitive to those, or the bass. Now the reason I did that is because I've got this droning bass, and I found that if I had the compressor just reacting to all the sounds on the mix, it was very hard to kind of get much compression effect because the bass is quite a high level because of the low frequencies. So because the compressor is only sensitive to the breakbeat, it cuts the sound when there is a drum, and I will demonstrate that now. So I'll play the bass and then I will kick in the drums. Probably can't hear much there, but let me switch off the drums to the mix so they're only applying to the compressor, and then you will definitely hear the difference. So you can kind of hear the bass is cutting out there. Maybe on the pad sound you'll be able to hear it even more. So if you like, the compressor is kind of reducing the volume of all of the instruments in time with the drums, and that gives it that punch. It sounds really odd when you listen to the track without the drums, but as soon as you kick them in, it sounds a lot more reasonable again. So that is a total breakdown of my rave jam. I hope you will consider subscribing to my channel. I really like making these videos. I'll make them anyway, but you know, it's always really nice to you know, see the subscribe count go up, as I've said in the past. I think I will do a few more bits of chiptune related content because, you know, that's more of my thing. But I do expect more like techno and acid and stuff in the future, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and have an awesome week.